Welcome to the Live Free, Love Life podcast, where we discuss how to create more freedom so we can love our lives no matter what we're going through. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to today's episode of Live Free, Love Life. I am your host, Mindy Neal, and today we are going to be talking about morning routines. So remember last week, if you haven't listened to last week's, you might want to pause here and go listen to last week's episode first. Last week, we talked about how important it was to take responsibility for your state, because your state is what determines the thoughts that are running through your brain at any given moment. And one of the ways that we can purposely create our state and set ourselves up for success is by an amazing morning routine. How you start your day has a profound impact on the rest of it. The routine you establish in those first few hours after waking up can either set you up for focus, productivity, and well-being, or send you spiraling into stress, distraction, and burnout. The reason for this is simple. Your morning routine directly influences your state, the complex interplay of physiological, cognitive, and emotional factors that shape your moment-to-moment experience. And as we explored last week, your state is a key determinant of your thoughts, behaviors, and ultimately the results you create in your life. When you wake up and immediately jump into a frenzied schedule of emails, social media, and rushed logistics, your body and mind are quickly flooded with stress hormones. This puts you in a reactive, survival-oriented state, making it extremely difficult to access the focus, creativity, and emotional intelligence needed to tackle your most important priorities. Alternatively, when you deliberately design a morning routine aimed at priming your mind, body, and spirit, you give yourself a powerful head start. You enter the day grounded, energized, and attuned to your highest intentions. And from that empowered starting point, you're far more likely to navigate challenges with resilience, make wise decisions, and make more meaningful progress towards your goals. So today we're going to talk about the art of crafting a transformative morning routine. We will explore the latest research and insights from leading experts on the specific physiological, cognitive, and emotional factors that set the stage for peak performance. And of course, we'll provide a step-by-step framework for customizing a morning routine that aligns with your unique needs and aspirations. By the end of today, you will have a blueprint for waking up and winning the day, unlocking your fullest potential and creating the life you truly want to live. So, what exactly makes a great morning routine so powerful? It comes down to the strategic way it influences your state, both in the short term and over time. From a physiological perspective, the activities you engage in first thing in the morning have a direct impact on your nervous system, your hormone levels, and your energy reserves. Research shows that practices like exercise, meditation, and exposure to natural light can stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting a state of relaxation, digestion, and restoration. Alternatively, habits like checking emails, social media, or the news tend to activate the sympathetic nervous system, flooding the body with stress hormones like cortisol. This puts you into a state of fight or flight, making it incredibly difficult to access the higher level cognitive capacities needed for focused work, creative problem solving, and emotional regulation. As clinical psychologist and author Dr. Amy Daramis explains, when we start the day in a heightened stress response, it's much harder to shift our mindset and physiology later on. The morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. But the benefits of a strategic morning routine go beyond just the immediate physiological effects. Over time, consistently practicing certain activities can actually reshape your neural pathways and emotional patterns. As neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza has found, when we repeat a specific sequence of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we're essentially programming our mind and body to default to that state. So, by building a morning ritual around practices that cultivate focus, creativity, calm, and other desired qualities, We're training our nervous system to operate in those optimal states with increasing ease and efficiency. It becomes a self reinforcing cycle of upward mobility where each day's positive momentum compounds on the last. So, what are the ingredients of a morning routine that sets you up for success? Based on the latest research and expert insights, here are some essential elements to consider. Number one, movement and breath. One of the most powerful ways to prime your physiology for an optimal state is through movement and breath work. Activities like yoga, tai chi, qigong, or even a simple walking meditation can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing cortisol and increasing feel good neurotransmitters like endorphins and serotonin. Harvard researcher Dr. Herbert Benson found that just 10 to 20 minutes of deep diaphragmatic breathing can elicit the relaxation response, helping to counteract the harmful effects of chronic stress. Meanwhile, research from the University of British Columbia shows that aerobic exercise increases blood flow to the brain, enhances executive function, and boosts mood. Okay, so that was number one, something to consider: movement and breath. Number two, mindfulness and meditation. Another crucial element of a transformative morning routine is some form of mindfulness or meditation practice. By taking time to quiet the chatter of the mind and cultivate present moment awareness, you give your brain a much needed rest. Studies show that regular meditation can literally rewire the brain, increasing gray matter in areas associated with emotional regulation, learning, and memory. It also appears to enhance activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in focused attention, decision making, and moral reasoning. Perhaps most importantly, a mindfulness practice helps you step out of the reactive habitual patterns that so often dominate our daily experience. As you learn to observe your thoughts and emotions with compassionate detachment, you create the space to make more conscious, intentional choices about how to respond. Okay, that was number two, mindfulness and meditation. Number three, nourishment and hydration. The foods and beverages you consume in the morning can have a profound impact on your energy, focus, and mood throughout the day. Research shows that a breakfast high in protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs can provide sustained fuel for the brain while also balancing blood sugar and stabilizing energy. Conversely, a sugary processed breakfast is more likely to cause an energy crash, brain fog, and cravings later on. And of course, proper hydration is essential for optimal cognitive and physical functioning. As a renowned physician, Dr. Sanjay Gupta recommends aiming for 16 to 32 ounces of water first thing in the morning is a game changer. Now, for those of you who practice intermittent fasting, I'm not saying that you must have breakfast. I'm saying the first thing you eat should be full of really good things for your body. So I also practice intermittent fasting and I don't generally eat breakfast. It depends on which day in my cycle I am on when I start eating, but it's making that first meal a really high quality, nutrient dense meal to set your body up for success. And all of us can start the day with that 16 to 32 ounces of water. Remember, when you wake up, you are dehydrated because you have spent the whole night sleeping and not drinking, and our bodies need water. So, number three, nourishment and hydration. Number four, inspiring input. The information and ideas you choose to consume in the morning can also significantly impact your state. Rather than immediately scrolling through social media or jumping straight into email, consider intentionally exposing yourself to uplifting, educational, or thought provoking content. This could mean reading a few pages of an inspiring book, listening to an empowering podcast, or reviewing your personal vision and goals. The key is to fill your mind with ideas and perspectives that align with your highest intentions rather than the anxious negative narratives that can so easily take over. As personal development expert John Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." In this digital age in which we live, That includes the voices and messages you choose to ingest, especially first thing in the morning. Okay, number 5, journaling and reflection. The final critical element of a transformative morning routine is the practice of journaling and self reflection. By taking time to process your thoughts, emotions, and intentions on the page, you deepen your self awareness and emotional intelligence. Research shows that expressive writing can have a measurable impact on physical and mental health, reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety while boosting immune function. It also appears to enhance learning, problem solving, and creativity, all essential ingredients for living an intentional, fulfilling life. Beyond the introspective benefits, the act of journaling can also serve as a powerful ritual for clarifying your priorities, programming your subconscious mind, and aligning your thoughts and behaviors with your deepest values. Of course, the specific elements of your morning routine will depend on your unique needs, goals, and lifestyle. There is no one size fits all formula. The key is to experiment and discover the unique combination of practices that work best for you. The good news is that research is clear. Even small, consistent tweaks to your morning habits can have an outsized impact on your overall well being and productivity. As Stanford researcher BJ Fogg has demonstrated, tiny habits, minor, easily repeatable actions, are often more effective and sustainable than dramatic overhauls. So start small. Perhaps it's as small as committing to a 5-minute meditation, or a healthy breakfast, or a brief review of your daily priorities. Over time, you can gradually layer on additional elements as they feel aligned and achievable. The important thing is to create a routine that feels intentional, nourishing, and inherently motivating to you. Remember, the reason we are doing this morning routine is to purposely and intentionally create our state, because our state determines the thoughts that are floating through our brain at any given moment. We want to close down the factories that create unhelpful thoughts. We want to open up the factories that create super helpful thoughts. So, your morning routine, we want it to be intentional. We don't want to just throw things in there because we think we should, because someone has told us that we should. Be super intentional about what creates your optimal state. What state do you want to be in as you start your day? What are the things that create that? And then we look back through these categories. I'm going to go over them again to experiment with, to try things. So remember, number 1 is movement and breath. What can you put into your morning routine in that category, movement and breath, that affects your state in the way you want it to? Number 2, mindfulness and meditation. Number 3, nourishment and hydration. Number 4, inspiring input. Number 5, journal and reflection. You are looking at these broad categories, and then you're experimenting with different ways to add something in that specifically for you creates an optimal state to start your day. Okay, I have an example morning routine for you that hits all of the elements we've discussed. Now, this is just an example. You're looking at it and going, okay, what of this do I like? What do I not like? What would I want to maybe replace right there? What would I want to try instead of that? Because that thing doesn't sound very fun. You're coming up with your own ideal morning routine that creates your optimal state. So here's an example. Wake up 6 a.m. Also, I don't know when you get up, so I just put some times in here, but they're just made up. Hydrate with 16 to 24 ounces of water. Do a brief stretch or light yoga flow, 10 to 15 minutes. Practice deep breathing or meditation, 5 to 10 minutes. Nourishment, 6:30 a.m. Enjoy a healthy protein-rich breakfast like eggs, avocado, berries. Take any supplements or vitamins. Reflection and inspiration, 7 a.m. Review your personal vision and daily intentions. Journal about your thoughts, emotions, and goals. Read an inspiring passage or listen to an uplifting podcast. Closing rituals, 7:30 a.m. Review your calendar and to-do list for the day. Engage in a short walking or movement break. Visualize yourself having a productive, fulfilling day. Now, of course, you will want to customize the timing, duration, and specific activities to fit your schedule and preferences. The key is to create a flow that leaves you feeling grounded, focused, and energized as you transition into the rest of your day. So, to bring this all to life, let's look at a few real world examples of how purposeful morning routines can catalyze profound personal and professional change. Jada, a 32-year-old nonprofit executive, had long struggled with anxiety and overwhelm. Her mornings were a frenzied scramble of email, news, and rushed logistics, leaving her depleted and reactive for the rest of the day. After reading about the science behind morning routines, Jada decided to experiment. She started her day with 20 minutes of gentle yoga and breath work, followed by a nourishing breakfast and a brief journaling session to set her intentions. She also limited her media consumption until after 9 a.m. Within a few weeks, Jada noticed a dramatic shift. She felt calmer, more focused, and more in control of her emotions. Tasks that used to feel draining now energized her, and she was able to be more present and patient with her team and clients. Most importantly, the positive momentum of her mornings started spilling over into the rest of her day. It's like I have this oasis of clarity and centeredness to draw from, Jada explained. Now, when challenges come up, I don't just react, I respond with intention. My morning routine has been a total game changer. Now, let me just briefly remind you that this example does not include her doing any thought work. We talk a lot about thought work on this podcast. She didn't have to purposely change her thoughts about anything. She changed her state. And because she was in a different state, her brain naturally offered her thoughts that were more helpful. Our state is that powerful. Okay, here is another example from Alex. He's a 45-year-old entrepreneur who had built a successful tech company, but at a heavy personal cost. He was chronically exhausted, short tempered, and disconnected from his deeper purpose. Realizing he needed to make a change, Alex started experimenting with a more intentional morning routine. He began his days with a 30-minute meditation, followed by a brisk walk outdoors and a nourishing breakfast. He also made time for brief journaling to clarify his priorities and focus his energy. The results were nothing short of transformative. Alex reported having more mental clarity, emotional resilience, and physical energy than he had in years. His relationship with his family and employees improved dramatically, and he found himself tackling work challenges with a renewed sense of creativity and problem solving. Before, I was just stumbling through my days in a fog of stress and fatigue, Alex reflected. But now, my mornings set me up to be my best self, focused, calm, and fully present. It allowed me to not just succeed in business, but to actually enjoy the process and feel fulfilled. Now, these are just two examples, but the pattern is clear. When we take the time to intentionally design a morning routine aligned with our values and goals, we unlock a profound wellspring of energy, focus, and possibility. You will be opening the doors to the thought factories that produce useful thoughts. You will be closing the doors to the thought factories that produce unhelpful thoughts. You will make it so much easier to think what you want to think and be who you want to be. It is a simple yet powerful leverage point for creating lasting positive change in every area of our lives. So, let me tell you what my morning routine generally looks like. Now, again, this is only to give you ideas of things that you might consider putting into your morning routine. They are things that you might experiment with. Like maybe I'll say something that maybe you've never thought before, and you could just go, oh, I want to try that. I want to see how that affects my state and how that state affects the rest of my day. So, this is, again, just another example of things you could consider as you think about what morning routine is going to be the most ideal for you. So, number one, I start with hydrating. Again, when we wake up, we are dehydrated, and water is super important to our physical state. So, the first thing I do is I drink a whole bunch of water. Number two, I move my body. Now, depending on the time of year and the day of my cycle, these things might look different. So, there are certain days of my cycle where I go all in on really hardcore exercise, which is usually either strength training or high intensity interval training. And if you're wondering why I'm doing things according to my cycle, I do follow a program called Fast Like a Girl, which I highly recommend. You can go look Dr. Mindy up on YouTube. She has tons of videos. You can read the book. It's really awesome. But it's all about exercising for your hormones rather than against your hormones. So I do not do hardcore exercise every day. I do it when I am in the power phases of my cycle. So moving my body could include high intensity interval training or strength training if it's in the power phase. If I'm not in the power phase, I do qigong. I usually do qigong regardless because it helps all the energy to flow through my body. It helps me to get connected to my body, to be more present with my body. So I usually do that whether I'm doing the other anyway. And what I mean by time of year is if it is warm, because I really hate the winter, I'm not a cold person, and where I live, there is a lot of winter, but if it is warm like it is right now, I love to do my qigong outside so that I can get sunlight first thing in the morning. That can really dramatically affect your state as well. So number 1 is hydrate, number 2 is move my body, number 3 is meditation. I cannot even begin to tell you how powerful this is. If you have never meditated, just start with a 1 or 2 minute meditation. You can find guided meditations. You can just sit and be quiet and listen to yourself. Just watch what happens in your brain. You can do a body scan. Sometimes I love to start at the top of my head and go all the way down and just notice any sensations. And with every breath, I just name something. Sometimes it's itch or pain or neck or shoulder. It's just whatever is calling to my attention. Often I will add in anything in the outside environment as well. So sometimes it could be like dog or, something I'm hearing. Maybe it's, I notice the breeze on my face. With every breath, I just label something. It's a super simple meditation, but so, so powerful. So if you are not meditating yet, I highly recommend you find a way to include meditation, which is my number 3. Number 4 is prayer. We are going to, in a couple weeks, be talking about your spiritual state. This is super important for my spiritual state to feed my spirit and get that spiritual state up to where I want it to be. And I follow that with some sort of gospel study, reading the word of God, filling my mind with the word of God, with inspiring words that get my mind in a really good mental state. And obviously that includes my spiritual state as well. Number 6, I list 3 things I'm grateful for, and I always include something that's like really, really, really small, like the feel of the sunlight on my face. Something that is just a little thing, but just creating that gratitude for all of the many things around me. Then number 7, I take that to the next level. I write down 3 things I want to be grateful for ahead of time. So these are things in the future that I do not have yet in my current reality, and I want to feel grateful for them now ahead of time before they have presented themselves in my reality. So I write the 3 things, and then I write a paragraph putting myself into the place where that is real. So that might sound like I am filling a group of coaches to help them be even better coaches. I am very passionate about coaching. I think everyone in the entire world would be better off if they had a coach. And for that to happen, we need lots of good coaches. I have had amazing experiences with coaching that most coaches will never get to have. And I want to pass on all of the things that I've learned that really help someone to be a really good coach. So right now I am in a launch phase, filling a group for a program to help them be better coaches. And that group is not full yet. So this might sound like maybe if one of my 3 things was, I'm so grateful to have 10 people in this group, right? Maybe I put that on there because I don't have 10 yet. So then in the paragraph form, it's, I am so grateful to have these 10 beautiful, amazing coaches to work with. I'm so excited that I get to share my experiences with them, to teach them all of the things that I've learned, to help them create more impact in the world, right? I write it out in paragraph form and I go there. I imagine these 10 coaches in my class. I imagine being there with them. I imagine conversing with them. I'm putting myself into that moment in the future and I'm creating gratitude for it to be there. So it's first the 3 things I have gratitude for now, 3 things I'm grateful for, and then 3 things I'm grateful for ahead of time. And I write out the paragraph to make it more real to my brain. There's lots of brain research that shows your brain actually can't tell the difference of what's real and what's made up in your head. So in that paragraph form, I'm making it real for my brain. I'm making that thing that I want to create to bring into reality real, and I'm feeling grateful for it. The next one, number 8, I write down 3 things, up to 3. Sometimes it's only 1, depending on my day. Up to 3 things I want to accomplish today. These are generally for me things that I dread, things I don't really want to do. And they may not even be very big things. Like it could just be like something simple like call the doctor and make an appointment. They tend to be things that I will procrastinate. So I love doing these 3 things because I get 3 things off my plate, out of my brain. I get them done and I feel amazing having done so. Number 9 is one focus. So that may or may not have anything to do with those 3 things. It's my one focus for the day. Number 10 is one mantra for the day. Number 11 is one I am for the day. And these things may be related and they may not be. So, for example, my one focus often is health. I'm really trying to get rid of Lyme disease in my body. So, my focus is often health. Now, if today what I'm really working on is something in my business, I can still have my focus be my health. So it doesn't have to necessarily be about my day. It's like every decision I make today, I want my health to be number 1. So if I am working on my business all day and I have a lot of, to-dos and I have it all planned out, if my number 1 focus is my health, I'm going to pay more attention to my body. I'm probably going to take more breaks. I'm going to make sure that I am staying hydrated, eating really healthy food, maybe going for a walk when I need one, because my health is my number 1 focus, even though really my tasks for the day are all on my business. So these things could go together or they might be totally separate. So, for example, if my focus is health, then my mantra could be I'm either feeding disease or fighting disease. That's one I really love to remember. Everything I put in my body either feeds disease or fights disease. And that could be my mantra for the day. And my I am statement could be I am full of health and wellness, let's say. So notice those all kind of go together. They're a focus, a mantra, and an I am. Or they could be different. If all the things that I'm doing today are about my business, but I want my focus to be health, my mantra could be about business. It could be, I'm creating an amazing business. I don't know. So they don't have to go together. They could go together. But so I have one focus, one mantra, one I am statement. And when I do my I am statement, I step into being that person. It's like, take a second and really step into being that person. And then number 12, the very last thing is I end with a song. Now, if I don't have something very specific I want to focus on, the song is always the same unless I'm doing something different. So unless there's an exception, the song that I generally listen to at the end of my morning routine is I Lived by One Republic because it helps me remember that this life is so precious and I want to live every single second of it. You will notice that this morning routine incorporates all of the advice we've talked about today. It also includes all 4 states: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, because they all go together. They're always affecting each other. So I want to take a little bit of time to make sure that I am priming each of those states. And this is how I prime myself for the day, and I take responsibility for my state before my day even began. Now, ultimately, the beauty of a transformative morning routine lies in the freedom it affords us. When we stop stumbling through our mornings in a groggy, reactive haze and instead choose to proactively shape our state, we become the architects of our own experience. We no longer feel at the mercy of circumstances, mood swings, or unproductive habits. Instead, we have a reliable toolkit for grounding ourselves, aligning with our intentions, and showing up as our best selves no matter what the day may bring. As renowned personal development coach Tony Robbins reminds us, it's not what's happening to you, it's how you respond to what's happening to you that matters. By cultivating a morning routine that puts us in an optimal state to respond with clarity, resilience, and creativity, we unlock a level of freedom and possibility that most people never experience. So if you're ready to start waking up and winning the day, I encourage you to begin experimenting with the elements that we have outlined here today. Start small, be patient and compassionate with yourself. And above all, find the unique combination of practices that truly energizes and inspires you. Remember, your mornings are the foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. So why not take the time to lay that foundation with intention, care, and the certainty that you have the power to create the life you truly want to live? The freedom and fulfillment that awaits you on the other side are well worth the investment. Go have fun with this and let me know how it goes. Live free, love life. Thank you for watching this episode of Live Free, Love Life. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, comment, and share. See you next time.